What's going on, everybody? In this video, I decided it would be a fun idea to attempt beating Terraria Master Mode, except that this time, I get to start with the legendary Zenith. So I started by spawning into the world known as the Zenith Isles with my character, Zenith Man, and began, as nearly all playthroughs do, with wood. Despite having the best sword in the game, I knew that the mobs of Master Mode were stronger, so I wanted to get armor quickly. I used some of the wood from the trees, made some wooden armor, and explored the right side of my world. In doing so, I went through the smallest desert known to man before arriving in the corruption. In my attempt to cross the pits, I made a mistake that very quickly came to bite me in the bum. No! No! Alrighty, just a few minutes in and I already have my first death due to falling into a corruption pit. If you've watched my 100 days spent in Terraria video, you would know that my first death in that journey also happened to be due to falling in a corruption pit. You'd like to think that after this video I will have learned my lesson when it comes to early game corruption travels. Upon respawn, I continued exploration of my world on the left side this time. To my delight, I found a pyramid buried under the desert. I don't find many of these often in my worlds, so it was cool to find one. I ran down the stairs, looted like 14 gold coins, and ransacked the chest to find a sandstorm in a bottle. My goal now was to mine underground to get better armor to fight some bosses. I started mining below my base where the Zenith came in handy because it helped me find the other caves when the light emitted from the sword allowed them to be visible. I found lots of iron, silver, and gold, as well as a few life crystals whilst down there. I was fortunate enough to find a web slinger early, which helped with my mobility. After making some new armor, I went to the corruption with bombs to fight the Eater of Worlds. I used the bombs to blow up the Ebonstone since I didn't have any purification powder. Upon blowing up the third shadow orb, the Eater of Worlds was awoken. Well, that was easy. In mere seconds, I dispatched him. The loot dropped was just outside the corruption, so I had to mine around to get it. From here, I used my recall potions to get back to spawn and started crafting some shadow armor. I did not have enough for a full set, but that didn't stop me from continuing my progression. I ventured through the night to the right side of my world, where I would stumble upon the dungeon. With no arena necessary due to the pure strength of the Zenith, I was ready to take on Skeletron and the Eye of Cthulhu. Nice, we take those. Oh man, that's funny. Just like before, those were some of the easiest boss kills I was ever going to have thanks to my good friend, the Zenith. I then went into the depths of the dungeon to search the chests in hopes of a cobalt shield. Afterwards, I killed the Eye of Cthulhu a few more times so that I could make a full set of shadow armor. Then I started constructing a small set of houses for NPCs. There weren't any NPCs that I really wanted except the guide, which I already had, the nurse, and the goblin tinkerer. I continued with my exploration of the underground in search of more life crystals and the goblin tinkerer. I also wanted to find a path to the underworld so that way I could have an avenue to defeating the Wall of Flesh. Within seconds of reaching the underworld, a voodoo demon spawned below me, giving me the tool I needed to take on the Wall of Flesh. I quickly decided in that moment, alright, I guess I'm just gonna go fight the Wall of Flesh right now. So I threw the voodoo doll in the lava and began my battle with the Wall of Flesh. That was so stupid. The very first one. Literally the very first guy drops the voodoo doll. I mean, wow. Even faster than expected, the Wall of Flesh stood absolutely no chance. And just like that, within an hour of playtime, I killed 4 different bosses and was now in hard mode. Thanks, Zenith. I owe it all to you. I came back to the surface to see that the goblin army had arrived. It was going well until the goblin summoner showed up. Oh, shh. What? That dude wrecked me. I mean, that's because he's a hard mode guy. Yeah, that mob was definitely from hard mode, and combined with the fact that this was master mode, and I was in shadow armor, he beat me up pretty bad. It's okay though, because when I respawned, I killed him and the rest of his army. Now I could finally have some peace and finish building my houses for some of the NPCs. Next, I went to the Corruption to smash the demon altars to find that my world was blessed with palladium, orichalcum, and adamantite. I always enjoy a world with adamantite. Like usual, the palladium spawned near the altars and I tried to mine it with my nightmare pickaxe and had no luck. At this moment I thought, crap. Now I'm going to have to go back to the underworld, mine hellstone, make a hellstone pickaxe, and then come back here and mine it in order to progress the game. I did just that. I mined lots of hellstone in the safety of the underworld houses, so that way I could craft the hellstone pickaxe needed to mine palladium ore. As soon as I had enough ore, I went ahead, returned to spawn, and crafted my pickaxe and began my hunt for palladium ore. Just like in my 100 days video, my goal was to get the palladium pickaxe, then go for the orichalcum pick, and then the adamantite pickaxe. I didn't want to spend more time mining to make armor that would end up replacing just minutes later, so I went ahead and I skipped over palladium armor and orichalcum armor if I could. I did this until I had good enough gear that I thought would help me so that way I wouldn't die instantly to a mechanical boss. During my search, I was baited by a golden chest that ultimately led to my demise as a set of boulders from above crushed my little Terrarian body back into the earth from which it came. No. Upon respawning, I made my adamantite pickaxe, went underground, and whilst riding in a minecart, I found a random mechanical worm on my path, which would be my opening to fighting the mechanical bosses. I needed to wait until nighttime to fight any of the mechanical bosses, so I spent the rest of the day mining some hard mode ores to make some better gear while I had the time. Also, I was collecting souls so that way I could craft the boss spawners. Come nightfall, I placed a few heart lanterns, as if they would even help me in this fight, and I summoned the robotic destroyer to kick off my first battle with the mechanical bosses. Just like every fight I've had so far, it ended in seconds due to the absolute power that is the Zenith. Even in Master Mode, these enemies are no match for a legendary Zenith. I used the hollow bars from the fight to start crafting myself a set of hollowed armor. In order for me to progress the game to the jungle, I first had to kill all 3 mechanical bosses. Since I fought the destroyer, all that was left were the twins and Skeletron Prime. I made my way to the dungeon to farm up a bit of bones for Skeletron Prime spawners. From there, I crafted the mechanical skull and summoned Skeletron Prime for what was to be a fight to the death. Come on, baby, show me what you got. You got nothing from my Zenith. After killing Mr. Prime, I made the spawner for the twins and did the exact same thing. Oh, we didn't even take a hit. Both fights were longer than most of the previous ones, but that's to be expected since the HP is ramping up as I go deeper into hard mode. With that being said, both battles proved to be no match for my Zenith. Since I just finished killing all 3 mechanical bosses, it was now time to progress the game through the jungle. At this stage, my goal was to find a Plantera bulb, mine chlorophyte, and harvest life fruits if I could find them. While doing all this, I was also trying to locate the temple so that way I could face the golem immediately after Plantera. I would say that this part of the game is one of the longer parts because finding Plantera bulbs and light fruits can take a long time, even with Splunker potions. This is due in part to the fact that I hadn't yet explored the jungle, and because these objects don't spawn in right away, they can take days of in-game time to populate the underground jungle. Upon entering the underground jungle, I quickly found my first life fruit and killed the queen bee. At this point, it was just a grinder's game. I would go on to scour the jungle for a short while in search of these objects. Some 20 minutes later, I found the first Plantera bulb and smashed it to take on Plantera. Nice. That fight with Plantera felt the closest of them all so far, purely because of how quickly Plantera collapses on you. Unfortunately, I failed to notice that just to the right of Plantera there was a life fruit, but it's okay. You know, these things happen. Soon after, I went back to the underground jungle to raid the jungle temple and dethrone the golem from his grass bonnet. Fighting my way to the bottom, I found a jungle key, built a small platform, and began what was to be many battles with the golem. Come on, baby, show me what you got. No game at all, brother. You got no game. I like to farm the golem because he can drop the eye of the golem, which is going to be important for the fight with the Moonlord, and so I could get a pick saw. At this point, I knew that the fights soon to come, such as the Pillars and Moonlord, would be more difficult if I just stayed on the ground or in one spot, so I tried to kill the wyverns so that way I could get a set of wings. I already had a giant harpy feather from earlier in the game, so I just needed souls of flight. I don't think I've gone this far into the game without a set of wings, but hey, I guess I've never really gotten this far by starting out with a Zenith either. There's a first for everything, including getting good news of the steampunker arriving. Martians. Lydia, the steampunker! More Martians. I said no Martians. Give me one. My girl Lydia just shut up. That's good, Lydia. Bet you looking hella cute today. I began to make a small series of platforms that I would use to fight the Moonlord. I set up campfires and heart lanterns to increase health regeneration. Then I flew to the dungeon to take on the lunatic cultist, which was still relatively easy given my loadout, but he's a boss you definitely can't underestimate. Light work, baby. See you later. The 4 pillars had now spawned into my world, so I thought it best to first kill off 3 of them, and then prepare for the Moonlord fight. I fought and killed the first 3 pillars, made a set of potions for my battle with the Moonlord, and went to the underground desert to find a bass statue, as that would give me a boosted defense stat. Afterwards, I went back to the jungle again to get some more life fruits and defeat the last pillar. With my full set of hollowed armor, potions, Stardust Dragon, and Legendary Zenith, I felt more than ready to take on the Master Mode Moonlord. The reason I took on this fight with hollowed armor and the cross necklace was because I thought if I had a longer invincibility time, then I would be able to kill him quickly during that period of time. Well, as impending doom approaches, it was time to find out if that was really true. Is 430 HP enough to kill you? Oh god. It's not enough HP, it's not enough HP! I'm dead, yep. Clearly I was wrong in that approach, so I figured I would save face and make sure I had more than enough preparations to really kill him. I went back to the jungle to farm all of the life fruits and max out at 500 HP, and to get turtle shells so that way I could craft beetle armor. The problem I had with the first Moonlord battle wasn't the damage output, but it was the survivability aspect. His laser does so much damage and I didn't have a Rod of Discord, so I needed to be beefy just in case I took a hit by it. I also bought myself a pair of steampunker wings from my girl Lydia because those had more flight time and faster acceleration than the harpy wings. After nearly 1.5 hours of farming in the underground jungle, I got enough life fruits to be at max HP and craft a full set of beetle armor. When you get to the end game, it feels like so much time is spent in the underground jungle due to Plantera, the golem, life fruits, and chlorophyte / turtle / beetle armor, and sometimes I'm just like, can I please get a change of scenery here? With my new set of beetle armor and slightly better accessories that I modified to be more suited to melee and survivability with added defense and damage modifiers, I was more than ready to take on the Moonlord for what was sure to be my last time. Reaper versus Moonlord. Get that top eye, there we go. Get around it, Knock it out, nice. Got good HP right now. Nice. There we go, onto the heart. Really full HP for it. Pop a potion just as we can. Let's go, baby! See you later, brother! Let's go! A match to the death. The Creeper versus the Moon Lord, but the Creeper equipped with the Zenith is just too powerful for him to handle. That is a dub right there. Only took a few hours. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. And just like that, I had completed a run of Terraria Master Mode, except that this time I was allowed to start with a legendary Zenith. I will say that having this weapon definitely changed my experience and goals for how to approach progression, but it was still a really fun challenge to do. It took less than 6 hours of playtime for me to complete this challenge, with most of that time spent in the underground jungle. On a normal run of Master Mode, getting to the point where you kill the Moon Lord usually takes tens of more hours than it did here. It's kind of crazy to see how quickly that process can be expedited due to having just one certain weapon in your inventory. That's going to be it for the video, everybody, but if you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, then be sure to subscribe for more content. This video did take a good bit of time to film and produce, so if you enjoyed it, I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like on the video. With all of that being said, thanks for watching, everybody. As always, this has been Bartula, and I'll see you all in the next one.